Glad you could make it, sir.
Dr. Dillard. I guess we've got a quorum, don't we? One,
have
two,
four.
3, 4,
Yes, we do.
right?
Yes.
Let's call the meeting to order. We'll have a prayer. I'll say grace here. Lord, we thank you for the opportunity to gather together as men and women interested in this community and economic development and betterment of all. Guide us, lead us, and direct us, Lord. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
How about a pledge of allegiance? Attention, salute, pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Darla, would you mind calling the roll?
Sordahl, Williams, Durr,
Here.
Moore,
Yes, we're here.
Berger, Miller,
Here.
Dillard.
Here.
Great. We have a quorum. Have you had an opportunity to review the minutes from the November 9, 2020 meeting? And once you have, I would entertain a motion to approve those minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Thank you, Ms. Durr. Is there a second?
A second.
Mr. Miller, seconds. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? Hearing no opposition, the motion carries. Agenda item number 4, a Pryor Main Street presentation by the Honorable Jenny Van Buskirk.
Okay, so we have a little mishap as far as like getting it up there, but that's okay. I'm just gonna throw it around to you guys. It'll be like a show and tell, if you will.
If we will.
Hopefully. Maybe it makes me less honorable if I do it this way, but that's okay. Okay, so maybe we're gonna see how this works. Okay, I'll kind of stand back and talk loud. So maybe this might not work like I thought. Can everyone kind of see?
No.
No?
Well, I mean, if you put the little thing.
Could you be Vanna? Okay. Alright, okay, thank you. Okay. So, I'm gonna go ahead and hand these out to you guys so you can kind of follow along. I have it a little bit outlined here.
Thank you, ma'am.
There you go.
The audience is not interested.
There we go.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
There we go.
Thank you.
I'll take one.
I do have a couple of just, sorry, Kim.
If you need this one back, you can have it. Do you need it?
Kim, do you want one? Do you want a copy?
You bet, if you have another one.
I'll
You
email
can send it to me later, no problem.
Okay, there we go.
Thank you.
The mayor thing doesn't work out, we'll call Will Fortune. Really totally good. Okay, so on this first slide, so this is basically a proposal from the planning design group. We always want to keep you informed at Pryor Main Street, so this is just kind of our next step to do that. Before I've presented to you guys the IQC plan, and that plays along with this, as I'll kind of explain later. If you don't have that IQC plan, I know I don't know how long ago it was, but we gave you guys copies of those. If you need them again, I can email them to whoever.
That was in last February, March.
Okay, so I will just email them out again, just in case, just so you guys have them. So we'll go ahead and go to the next one. Okay, so from that IQC plan, basically what we're updating you today about is the next step. So PDG, since they've been around since 1985, they've worked with multiple local and regional municipalities for like landscape architectural services. And then later on I'll explain a few of the programs that they've done for other communities that we're familiar with. Their website, they didn't put it on the little packet, but I did write it at the top of each one that I gave you guys. So you can kind of do your own homework a little bit about maybe the awards they've received and just information about who these people are, just to kind of add credibility. They also They're also kind of tied to the community already. I know they're doing some proposal work for the rec center, so they're kind of familiar with a little bit of the homework of our community. So the next step, this is what we would consider the next, like step number 2 as far as a downtown streetscape plan. So this is putting a design to the concepts that the IQC, the OU Institute of Quality Communities, the plan that they put together for us. This is the actual design that's specific to our area. That's a little bit more focused than what our comprehensive plan is, and it's more focused and more magnified on the downtown area. So we kind of look at it, we already think, I mean, we all know that downtown Pryor has a lot of gyms, and we have a lot of great things to offer. We have shops. There's a lot of historical things going in our downtown that many other communities don't have. But like a cover of a book, if it's not something that's attractive or aesthetically pleasing, you might not open that book to see what's inside. So this is kind of making the cover of downtown attractive. So you want to come and shop and see what's downtown and see what's inside that book. So on the first page, halfway down, there's a part 1, and that's where it kind of shows you where the conceptual things that the PDG group would be able to give for us. First, we would meet with interest groups. We've already kind of done that. We've sat down as far as the capacity of Main Street and just kind of explain different things that we might want to highlight, including things like the Jefferson Highway and other important recommendations. On the last page, we kind of did a map that shows things that are potential placemaking opportunities in the future. So we wanted to send that to them. Obviously, it's all tweakable, so things that groups like you guys could sit down with them and just give your ideas. We could brainstorm and go further. So that's a part of that. They would basically do a concept of a streetscape plan, wayfinding signs, street pattern impact, so just kind of studying what the street patterns are for our downtown and what would work best for us in our community. Parking, and then theming and branding, and what we mean by that. So Pryor Main Street has its own theme, Chamber of Commerce has its own theme and brand, the city of Pryor has its own brand. But downtown doesn't have a brand in itself, and if you look at other cities and other communities, there's different brandings for different groups, but their downtown still has its own brand and its own theme. So that's something that they would take, the recommendations that we would brainstorm with them and create our brand for downtown. And then after that, they would do design of directional and location markers and signage. And this is just kind of the step of how else are we going to know the design direction to go to if we don't have an outside party that's going to come in and tell us what they believe is best for our community without any extra opinions other than just what they feel is best and what is an objective plan. So on the bottom of that first page and then on the top of the second page is where the next slide is going to take you. So after conceptual, it's basically going to be the scope of services, but they're finalized plans. So that would include color rendered plan, colored sketches of streetscape proposals, and concept sketches for wayfinding. So just basically everything finalized from the part 1. Okay, so just to kind of add a little bit of credibility, these are some of the communities. I know you can't really see it, but I'll kind of read some of them to you. So Muskogee, the Depot District Master Plan, and that's what's pictured. These are the ideas that were brought by PDG for them. I don't know if you guys have been to this area in Muskogee before this, but the night and day difference from that into what this can offer, it's insane. And then there's other areas that we mentioned that you might be familiar with. So the stockyards in Oklahoma City, and then the Tulsa Driller Plaza, and then just different ones. And I can also email you guys these slides too, so you can see them a little bit closer up. But these are all the public ones, and then there's a multitude of private ones that they don't want us to necessarily release yet that they're working on. So there's some of those. So this is where it's exciting, and this is where we've already kind of done some homework with the IQC plans. So what the fee for this would be, normally if we didn't have the homework of the IQC plan, if we didn't have the community input and everything that we provided them with the IQC plan, she said it would be, the normal cost would be at least, and this is minimum, $60,500. But for us, since we already did all that, it would be the $35,500. So that's something that we can kind of bring to the table, is we already have, not quite, but almost half already covered because of the homework that we've done with IQC. And we did that partnering with Hope and getting grants to be able to get that plan from OU. So that's that's a little bit of, it's an estimate. She said it might even be more than that, but that's not even including things that we have from the comprehensive plan. So really, the number would be more than that. That's just a little bit conservative. And this presentation isn't necessarily to ask for that amount today, but it's just to educate you and to give you these materials to be able to go home and study and ponder and think of questions. That way in the future, when we do come asking for funding, it's something that you're familiar with. So that is it. And if you guys have any questions now, I want to answer them. Thank you. Okay, I think we're good.
Could I interject?
Yes, go, please do, yeah.
So part of our bond funding is funding toward our Main Street corridor. And so the definition about that is job retention and Main Street corridor development. So that bond funding right now is about $90,000 in that fund. And so because it's supported by sales tax each month, then it's added to each month. From a professional design perspective, if that's the direction that we want to go, then we have an opportunity with planning design group or with another design group. We have planning design group who right now is doing design with our rec center. They have done the design on the green space that's across the street over here. They're familiar with our community. I started trying to develop a relationship with a design firm about a year ago, and I was drawn to planning design group, and since they're familiar with our community, it made sense to engage them with Main Street. So our Main Street organization, perhaps being the driver about how we approach development through the Main Street corridor, is in my mind that's a proper path. So I engaged Jenny then to take a look at this and decide kind of how we want to take it from the next step, because we've done it with PDG, we've done it with the comprehensive plan. If we want to put our money where our mouth is, so to speak, if we want to go ahead and plan forward, we plan forward with sure design that's going to make definition about the wayfinding, about what we do in our downtown corridor. So looking at some of the other things that PDG has done in Bixby, in Muskogee, in Oklahoma City, and other places, they're a credible firm that other communities have used. So that's, I guess, a perspective from the mayor. Thank you.
Love it. No, thank you. Thanks.
So there's money available if we wanted to, at some point, move forward with this.
That's correct.
As opposed to me, Scott, Gene, and others, Ariana trying to figure out a bake sale or a bean supper or something like that to come up with the money. Okay, that's good to know.
And that's one of the reasons why this board really was formed, because of the need to try to direct those funds. Citizens own those funds.
Right.
So to direct those funds appropriately for that purpose.
Yeah. Well, in the past, we've had some pretty nifty designs by others suggesting what downtown could look like. But the component of those designs is a willingness by some of the individual property owners to do certain things. But I guess that would be part of our role as well, cajoling individual property owners to get on board and
Well, also cajoling city, because if it's wayfinding,
yeah.
if it's signage, if it's parking on properties that the city already owns,
Sure.
you know, then the city ponies up also with budgeting to, you know, to do some of those things.
That might be the easier Jedi mind trick. Perhaps. Okay, cool.
Okay,
Thank you, miss.
okay, yeah,
I got a couple of questions, if you don't mind.
yeah, no, absolutely.
Chair recognizes the director of the MUD.
So, did they give you a timeline on these scope of services by chance? Like, how long do they anticipate item 1 being and item 2 as well?
So I don't have an exact, like, are you talking about from start to finish, like?
Just say that the council approves us to
Mhm.
make the recommendation to them to use that bond money to get this thing rolling. When are we, you know, what are you looking at from start to finish? Just,
She has not given me an exact time, like if we say we were to fund it tomorrow, if it would be done within 30 days. But what I do know is every interaction that I've had with her has been super, super quick and really thorough. So I could email her.
you might ask her that
Yeah.
just in case,
Mhm.
because that's gonna be a question that could come up by the
Yeah.
council or by somebody else from this board, just to kind of
Yeah.
know.
And I think we've been clear with like the sense of urgency too, and we want to show when we make, you know, when we say we're going to do something that we're going to do it, and they definitely seem behind that. So I would assume it'd be a quick turnaround.
The other thing that I would like to see, if possible, that's included in this scope of services, I mean, we'll just throw it out there, the eyesore downtown is the signals.
What'd you say?
The traffic signals, the poles, really.
I mean, so if there's been conflicting ideas on how they should look, conflicting ideas as if we keep that corridor green, and then when people hit it along the north-south streets, the loops collect it and it stops. I mean, I kind of feel like somewhere we need to kind of have a group discussion as to, okay, so when we get to that point, you know, first off, how should the signals look? Second off, how do you want it to operate? Because if you set it up green from point A to point B, then people are gonna be using that as a raceway and they're not gonna stop. But then you don't wanna hit every other, you know, you don't wanna be red light, every other red light. And then, I mean, just something to think about, how you feel that corridor should operate.
Jared, does DOT have any recommendation about how we do that on State Highway 20?
Well, we'd have to work with Christine Spence out at ODOT Division 8. She's the traffic manager, but I mean, they're pretty lenient on what goes on. You just gotta make sure you keep your clearances of the state highway for oversized loads and whatnot, but they're pretty easy to work with. I just think, you know, if we're gonna have a plan, we may have a plan for those as well. So when that time comes, you know, we have a little extra money possibly, and the city wants to help out, and then we can find some grant money, or that might be a time to look at possibly redoing each intersection.
Yeah, I'll definitely mention that to her. I know in that first page, she said something about street pattern impact, so I almost wonder if that would fall under that. But I'll ask her and I'll double check.
You know, any ideas would be
Yeah.
great. Because
Yeah. Okay, yeah, I take note of that, so, for sure.
So the design component would also perhaps include design of street signs, design of even where maybe the stoplights were located.
Yeah.
I mean, all that kind of comes into a kind of a design play.
And on a verbal format, whenever I've met with her, we've mentioned those, just the stoplights, and she said that's something that they've dealt with before, so I don't feel like it's any uncharted territory for PDG, but I'll definitely let her know that for our community, it's a must, for sure.
yeah, just to kind of,
Yeah, I agree.
because those signals right now can't be retrofit with nothing. I mean, they're just antiquated, out of date. There's no modifying them. It's just jerk them out and start new,
Okay,
which costs more, but it's a better product in the long run.
long term. Okay, I agree. Thank you for that. Any other questions?
I just want to say thank you for all of your work. I'm super pumped because I know that plans, often grants, they require it to be a part of a plan. And so I'm excited for the the specific things that are going to come from this plan. I know for sure some money that's out there for wayfinding signage. So I'm super pumped. Thank you for all that you do.
Excited. Thanks, guys.
So when we engage with a planning design group like this, they will make a recommendation, and that recommendation will also have estimates in it. I mean, it'll also have, it'll make recommendations, and a group will meet with them. Maybe it's this group that meets with them and tries to take that recommendation, hone it down a little bit to maybe meet what our requirements might be after we look at it. But they can follow that clear through to construction documents, you know. So what we do is we start a ball rolling. With this group, and as time goes by, then that plan will reveal maybe what value that would have, and then the consideration of how to pay for that after we hone it, design it to meet our needs. I'm just kind of projecting out in the future about what this process, you know, would look like.
Yeah, and we'll definitely keep you updated. I love coming and talking in front of you. So every time we get a new update, I'll come and definitely keep you guys in the loop of what's going on too, if we choose to go further with this.
Mr. Chairman, may I make a comment? One of the first things that you read in the scripture, it says, "And let there be light." Have you driven down our main street at night? It's darker than dark. So before I did anything on improvement, I get some lights so people feel safe when they walk down the streets.
Yeah, I love that.
I mean, it is dark.
I agree with you. I totally agree with you. And that's something that we can recommend to them too. Definitely
In our new construction, we're gonna light up that whole corner. I mean, they're gonna see us from the satellites. We're gonna have so many lights.
Yeah.
And it's, if you're gonna,
Houston, are you seeing this?
yeah, if you're gonna see it, you know, we talked about our downtown, but this morning I had to be there at 6:30, and driving down Main Street, it's just,
Dark.
you bet.
And
And
you're
when you
right.
get out of your car and it's that dark,
So one of the recommendations from OU, the IQC, when they did a study that involved the community, one of the top things that they said they wanted was to feel safer. And so I think that's a really good thing to add in there too. So thanks for that.
my wife and I went to Jinx this weekend, and we live in Tulsa. And when you go down Main Street of Jinx, there's the lights that go across it, and you feel totally safe going in and out of their ice cream parlors and everything. But that's not necessarily true here.
Okay, yeah, I agree. Very noted too. So thanks for that. Any other questions? I'm all ears for recommendations too.
Thank you, Jenny, for visiting with us today. It was very nice. All right, agenda item number 5, economic development update.
So, a few things. On the agenda is our police and fire and library project, and perhaps going to bid. So that'll be something that's on that agenda. Council will consider how we move forward with that. So I know everyone's kind of been, or I've been chomping at the bit to get that thing underway and going. So it looks like that's going to happen here pretty quick, I hope. In different parts of town, there's still property development for housing, meetings that are being conducted with landowners, with land brokers, with developers, and that activity is going on. It's going strong. I might tell everyone, and I think Ariana knows this, We were not successful in receiving a grant for the green space that's across the street from City Hall here. So we're kind of back to square one in that regard.
But was there any, I guess, after action or reasons given, or just thank you for applying?
Oh, no, the reasons given were, there was a multitude of people applying for that money, and other applications were prioritized in front of ours.
Okay.
And so, anyway, we're back to square one. As you know, anytime economic development happens, whoever controls the dirt controls what happens. Well, that property is owned by a private party, and that private party is aware, and so we're back to square one and still willing to be a partner with that private party. The economic development activity through our consultant continues to go strong. There have been some comments about what happens with the reports that he sends out. All those reports are very generic. Conversations about those specifics that I have with him going forward each week.
I saw the pad has been poured. I'll call it the Domino's location, but the pad has been poured, but I haven't seen much else. I guess, are they on pace?
They're put that on hold to try to get a Domino's done in Broken Arrow.
I see.
They were fighting between the one at Pryor and the one at Broken Arrow. They needed to get it done before the first of the year. So Broken Arrow took higher priority because that was a little bit closer. So they should be back in
After the first of the year?
in the first quarter, hopefully, to finish that up.
Okay. Any word on, the only reason I say we were driving around last night and the district looks so nice, all lit up and everything, but what's kind of going on out there, do you know?
So,
Other than a Fat Toad sign, I don't see anything else.
so Fat Toad will be an anchor restaurant out there. The other spaces that have been built, those spaces have been shown, and there have been. I don't need to speak out of turn or speak for Mid-America Industrial Park,
Yeah.
but I do know that those spaces have been shown, and there's interest in those spaces from varying parties. We have Red Crown Credit Union out there, and we also have Fat Toad out there, and then those other spaces are being marketed. One of the things that is going on is they're also involved in developing wayfinding signage that would be on Highway 69 and drawing attention to the district. And so that's one of the things that we'll see also coming up. Jared, do you have anything to add on those, on that one?
No, they are working with an apartment complex that's in the early stages of design right now. So basically what you see the district, you see the outer shell. Anybody who takes tenantship in there, they're billed to suit.
Yeah.
So like the Fat Toe, they signed their contract, but it's gonna take them about 3 months to get their interior ready.
Yeah, I've seen their tanks and other things inside, but, well, until Red Crown actually put up some signage, they're red and white. My grandson was convinced it was gonna be a Chick-fil-A. And I said, no, trust me, it's not gonna be a Chick-fil-A.
And I believe Red Crown is actually operating into there right now,
Oh, good. Yeah.
so.
So, by the way, Chick-fil-A is one of those companies that Mr. Hayes is talking with, and
Right.
so.
I mean, right now I have to content myself with the chicken sandwich from McDonald's. It's you know, so, yeah.
I'd be happy to answer any other questions anybody might have.
Okay, well, thank you very much for that, and good news on the police and fire and library building. Hopefully that does just like a rocket ship take off.
Larry, was there an issue with that property next door to the tennis court?
No, not that I'm aware of.
Was that, did we act on that to sell it? Or, I noticed in the packet, there was like 2 emails from developers for that property off of, I mean, it's that one that was just west of the tennis courts.
So there is, and you saw that wondering look in my eye, Jared, because, I don't know, is that the third item that's fallen through the cracks this month?
No?
Isn't that the one that Peters bought already?
Yeah.
Did he already buy that?
Peters bought that.
Okay, yeah,
Already
Peters
bought
was low on that, and he did buy that, and that was, handled in last month's meeting.
Yeah, and we've already got.
He wasn't low, he was high.
That's what I mean. He was the successful bidder, and, Peters, thank you, Jared. Peters now owns that property, and he has paid for that property.
Okay. Any other confusion that can be cleared up?
Can I give just a really quick?
Absolutely.
On that, we have closed the Peters transaction. We're gonna be closing the transaction with Larimore and Butler, I think, probably in the next week or 2 weeks. If I remember correctly, the Peters transaction was around $10,000, maybe, no? Was it less than that?
It was less.
4,050.
4,000, okay, whatever.
It's $4,050 bucks.
Yeah.
That
yeah.
one's closed. This next one is about 30,000, if I remember correctly. And those are, sales by the EDTA of these properties, and we're in process now of getting a separate bank account set up for the EDTA and a separate tax number for the EDTA. So that funding will be going into that account for the EDTA soon. Within the next 30 days, we should have all that done.
Cool. Well, I guess.
Mr. Chairman,
we set up
I know a good bank where they can,
paying top dollar.
and it can be seen.
That's right. When,
With the new lights.
when we open that account, I guess we'll need to, at a meeting, resolve who signs and all that stuff, yeah.
Right.
Okay. Excellent. Well, Darla, thanks for setting this meeting up for us and calling and telling us there's a meeting, so. I would,
Mr. Chairman, we did have a little bit of a glitch in the communications, and apologies about that. And, but I think we have fixed that and found out where that was.
okay. Hearing nothing else, I would entertain a
I
motion
make
to
a
adjourn.
motion that everybody have a Merry Christmas.
There you go. I'm gonna consider that to be a motion to adjourn as well,
I'll second that.
and we have a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Hearing opposed, none? We're adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you, Darrell,
Thank you,
for
sir.
the meeting.